I'm a little bit interesting situation because a long time ago, when it was a Millennium Summit, I was co-chairing that summit year 2000 with the President of Namibia. Then after that, being a president and then taking part in ILO's activities, I also co-chaired the ILO's Fair Globalization Commission, where we made this decent job idea. That was together with the President of Tanzania in those days, Benjamin Mkapa. And now, when you ask that which kind of the SDGs we should see, the problem is that I was co-chairing the report what was given to Rio, and we made a name by the name The Future Worth of Choosing. That was together with the President of South Africa. So my fate seemed to be the African president. But so when we made this report for the Rio Summit, so we thought that we could put a lot of different kind of things with the so-called broad consensus. And if you see the report, and if some of you might even read it, so you can see that some wording is very soft, very soft. For instance, the wording planetary boundaries. When we say that the GDP is still important and we welcome the increase of the GDP, but it should be inclusive, so with the social justice, and then it should also, as we say, respect the planetary boundaries. So it was in very soft way said, because some of the people didn't accept the different parts, and that was the broad consensus. Then in Rio, when Rio was more, how could I say, decisive, they say, this is the future we want. So I also made the same question like an honorable moderator. I said that I hope so that you really also choose it. You don't only want it, but you behave so that you can achieve it. And so I think still there is this modern trinity. We said that we can stop the tyranny of the GDP, but we need it to be part of the indicators. But we need also new indicators, because the growth of the GDP is not the same like the increase of well-being. So, and I hope so that the new indicators, when you ask what could come, I think that either the UNDP's new indicator or something else, or what I consider the best could be the set of the indicators, including the Bhutan and Costa Rica and all the others, that we could see that what is this balance with this, the modern trinity, which is economy, ecology, and social justice. But I think also the method. We have discussed here very much about what is the status of the world today. We know the disease, and I think that we have already discussed with some of the members of the panel beforehand. Perhaps we could also see how we can get new medicine for this situation. And so I think indicators could be one of those. But I also hope that we could take a very strong commitment, like in UN Millennium Summit was 2000. I still remember the atmosphere when we thought that the new millennium is something else than the previous ones. And we need this kind of the passion to say, yes, we do it, because otherwise such kind of the difficult process will not success. And with the millennium goals, somebody might criticize, but I think that that has been the biggest step forward in social justice at global level, what we have done before that. So especially if we can say that concerning the extreme poverty, if we can make it half, as it seemed to success, so it's okay. So I would continue with these millennium goals. So when they will end in 2015, I know that Prime Minister Cameron and Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf and the President of Indonesia, with all their excellent, eminent members of the panel, will work for the post-2015, that and also the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, could be seen as one entity, because during these years, these 15 years, we have seen that there is not welfare, there is not social justice if this planet cannot survive. And that's why the ecological side should be taken much more strongly. But even I'm a very optimist and sometimes too much, so I think that by most of the countries, they will welcome also the economic growth, but under these terms. Then I had a lot of other things what I thought to say, but when my colleagues have asked that we could be more discussion, I will take only a few other things to say. So I think that something what we have not overused in recent years even is the human capital. And if we think that in which way we have used the human capital, so there is three categories which we have underestimated. One is the poor. Of course, we want to get rid of the extreme poverty, but sometimes we misunderstand that those people who are poor, that they are stupid. No, they are not stupid. And on the contrary, sometimes it demands to be extreme smart in order to survive. The next one is the young ones. In the most of the countries, the young people have got the best education what the society could afford. And that's why they should be integrated much earlier what it has been done now. We all know the Northern Africa, but in Spain, it has been now unemployment of the young people over 40%, and will be quite soon 50%, and none of the EU countries can have an, how could I say, they cannot be proud of the development they have had recently. And I think that also in India, in China, in many other places, we know this part. We have to integrate young people much more effectively what we have done so far. And the third one, dear gentlemen, you always, I think that you will be disappointed if I don't take the role of the women. So the half of the world's population are women. And in many parts of the world, we know that the whole capacity of the women has not yet used. And so I would say only a few aspects on that. I think that all of you are married. Are you? Divorced. Yes? Oh, known anyway, divorced. Okay. So I think that you agree that women play the leading role in the households, in the consumption behavior. That seems to be also what the researchers say. The next thing is that women are, in many countries, also in my own country, they are in majority in some fields of the working life, like schools, daycare centers, hospitals, elderly homes, shops, and many other places. You already guess what I mean. They can be very, very much the key actors concerning the consumption. And this is not saying that I don't believe or trust in men. And I, of course, also believe in adult education, that even the men can change the models of the consumption. So, but I think that what we need also both for the men and women is the new type of the agriculture. 80% of the fresh water is used nowadays to the agriculture. And of course, if we would get better food safety, thank you today's lunch, which was a vegetarian. We all know that, but how much better it is than the red meat, what of course everybody can eat every now and then, I myself too. But not every day, and not even cheese, the same size of the footprint with the cheese. But anyway, we would be more and more reaching information and not only receiving, but understanding it and living with that. So I would say that women can be a very good asset in all of these. But also the Nordic countries, like I call them the Nordic sisters, 5 Nordic sisters, because of their caring societies, are a good example that small countries in the very northern hemisphere can have very good place in international comparisons, not only in education, but also in GDP or in social protection and many other things. And I think that all that can be also explained that we Northern women, we are allowed and we are supposed to work very hard. The most of the women in this globe, they work very hard, but they cannot use always all their capacity, and that I underline. They could do it better. They could do it much better. And I asked it before I came here that they count that in the Nordic countries, the wider entry of the women to labor markets after the Second World War contributed already in 70s some 40% increase in the GDP. And in this high-level panel of the sustainable development, also the economists counted that recent economic analysis estimates that the women's participation in labor markets has bigger impact globally than the growth of India and China together, with all my respect. So perhaps I can stop speaking on that and thanking India and Dr. Pachauri, not only for these sustainable development summits where I have been a frequent visitor, but also what India has done. Concerning the Millennium Goals, India has a crucial role whether we reach this first para concerning the reduction of extreme poverty. And I know also that there has been a lot of now discussions concerning the women's empowerment in this country. And I say, just look at us, nothing too fair. After all, our men have survived and enjoyed the life. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.